The Temple of Artemis.
Philip lived in a little hidden house in the middle of nowhere. He had always felt different than most of people. He had never fitted the bill. He kinda knew he was meant to do something better, bigger, but he didn't know what or when. He wasn't the most talkative person, so he didn't know a lot of people, and that made him a loner.
On the other hand, his grandfather had always been his confidant and his best friend. David would always stand up for Philip no matter what he had done or wanted to do. Now that he had passed away, Philip had lost literally everything. But DJ, his favorite cousin, came back from Africa and brought lots of food to cheer him up. Since he was really hungry, Philip ate all of it. Little did he know that the next morning he would be a giant.
Waking up next to a pile of wood, which was the rest of his house, which he had broke during the night due to his unnatural growth, he was now as big as a dinosaur, if not bigger. He had woke up because since he had no roof over his body, the rain was pouring directly on his face. The gods were crying because Philip wouldn't have the chance to live up to anyone's expectation now that he was a giant, and that's why it was raining this much.
He'd been trying to adapt to his new life for some days when he discovered that there was another giant on this planet. He originally thought that he was the only one and that giants had just died out or never even existed. This was the most awesome thing he'd ever seen. He would not have to be alone anymore. Unfortunately, it took him weeks before he got the courage to approach her.
He had been preparing his speech since the day he had seen her. But when he went for it, he forgot everything, so he said the worst thing anyone could have ever said, and both of them were so uncomfortable they wanted to die. Instead of dying, they laughed at the situation and then fell in love.
After some time living together, somebody knocked at their enormous door.
It was a hunter who wanted to kill giants because he thought they were mean and ugly.
Philip didn't let him do anything. He just grabbed the little human and ate it.
They left this traumatic event in the past and never talked about it again.
Both of them had always had the same wishes. They wanted a family. It's not because they were way bigger than normal that they couldn't make one. So they talked about it and it just came about. Ella, Philip's girlfriend, got pregnant less than a week after their discussion. 9 months later, she was giving birth to a beautiful giant baby girl.
Almost 8 years later, they realized that their child had been looking sad for a while. She had had nothing or anyone to play with since the day she was born. Playing with her parents was not the nicest thing. She wanted something else. She was beside herself from this boredom at only 7.5 years old, and she didn't know what to do about it. Philip thought about what he should do for her, but he really didn't have any idea. One day, a little birdie told him, "You must try to build her a dollhouse and Ella must make the dolls."
The next morning, Philip was already searching around the area for some material for the dollhouse. He didn't need to tighten up his belt because money was not a problem in this case. He would just take rocks, break them in pieces, and assemble them. Since he was a supernatural character, he was stronger and could break anything. He'd taken the pieces and started building the dollhouse. He then realized that the bricks were like Lego blocks, which he'd played with when he was a kid. So the project wasn't just about making his daughter happy, he had fun doing it.
At his daughter's birthday, the dollhouse was done and the dolls were too. The sadness of the child faded away when she saw what her parents had done for her. That was the most beautiful thing she had ever seen. She thanked her parents and would now be a happy 8-year-old giant. The building was so majestic, as if it had been done by the gods.
And that's why the Temple of Artemis is that big and good looking. People say that anyone who had laid eyes on the temple will be convinced that the world of immortal gods has moved from the heaven to the earth.